Rain poured down in thick, heavy sheets, turning the sidewalk into a river and the air into a cold, trembling fog. A single dad named Ethan stood there, soaked to the bone, holding a cardboard box with everything he had left. His shirt clung to him, his hands shook, and his eyes were red, not from the rain, but from the weight of 1,000 problems he no longer knew how to solve. He had lost his job that morning. By noon, he lost the small apartment he shared with his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. And now, with nowhere to go and no one to call, he stood in the rain hoping life would show him one small sign of mercy. But life didn't. Not yet. Across the parking lot, a luxury car rolled slowly to a stop. The window slid down, and a deep voice called out, "Hey, are you okay out there?" Ethan looked up, confused. He didn't know that in the next few moments, everything in his life was about to change. Before we begin, if you love powerful stories of kindness and humanity, make sure you subscribe to Kindness Diaries, hit that like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us spread more stories that warm the heart and remind us that good still exists in this world. Now let's get into the story. Ethan never liked asking for help. He was the kind of man who always handled everything himself. But today he had nothing left to pretend with. He whispered to himself, "I just need to get through tonight. Just one night for Lily." He shifted the box in his arms and headed toward the bus stop, but the rain kept pushing him back. The luxury car that had stopped earlier suddenly circled around and pulled up right beside him. The door opened, and a tall man in a dark suit stepped out, holding an umbrella. He was clearly wealthy, polished shoes, tailored coat, everything spotless. He didn't belong in a place like this. But he walked toward Ethan anyway. "You're soaked," the man said gently. "Here, at least stand under this." Ethan blinked in confusion. No one had spoken to him with kindness in weeks. He hesitated, but stepped under the umbrella. "My name's Daniel," the man said. "You look like you've had one hell of a day." Ethan let out a shaky breath. I lost my job. And my home. And I don't know what to do anymore." Daniel didn't flinch. He didn't judge. He simply nodded, like he understood more than he let on. "And your daughter, is she with you?" Daniel asked. Ethan nodded. "She's inside the store restroom, drying off. I didn't want her to see me break down out here." Daniel looked at him for a long moment. A thoughtful, almost pained expression crossed his face, as if he'd seen a piece of his own past standing there in front of him. Then he said quietly, "Get in the car." Ethan froze. "I'm sorry, what get in?" Daniel repeated. "You and your daughter. You're not spending the night out here." Ethan tried to refuse. "Sir, I don't want to be a burden. I don't even know you." Daniel looked him straight in the eyes. "Sometimes the people we don't know are the ones who help us the most. Please, let me help." There was something so genuine in his voice that Ethan couldn't find the strength to argue. He called Lily, gently wrapped her in his jacket, and the two of them climbed into the warm car. Lily softened immediately. "Daddy, it's so warm." Daniel smiled at her through the mirror. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm Daniel. Don't worry, you're safe." Ethan swallowed hard. He wasn't used to kindness like this. Not from a stranger. Definitely not from someone wealthy enough to ignore him. But Daniel didn't ignore him. Instead, he drove them straight to a small family restaurant. Inside, the staff greeted Daniel by name. They quickly brought blankets for Lily and a hot meal for Ethan. It was the first real food he'd had that day. He didn't realize how hungry he was until he tasted it. "So," Daniel said gently, "tell me what happened." Ethan explained everything. How the company he'd worked for went bankrupt. How he'd used all his savings on Lily's school and medical bills after she got sick last year. How he'd been searching every day for work but had no luck. And how that morning, their landlord had given them 1 hour to leave. Daniel listened with full attention. No phone. No interruptions. Just quiet understanding. When Ethan finished, Daniel leaned back, thinking deeply. "You remind me of someone," he said softly. "My father. He was a single parent too. Worked every job he could find just to keep us off the street. A man who never gave up. Just like you." Ethan's eyes filled. No one had ever said something like that to him. Daniel continued, "I can't fix the whole world. But I can help someone standing right in front of me." Ethan looked up, startled. "What do you mean?" Daniel smiled. I own a tech company downtown. We're opening a new logistics branch. I need someone responsible and hardworking to manage the operations. Someone who doesn't quit. Someone like you. Ethan's mouth fell open. You're offering me a job, Daniel said, and a place to stay until you're back on your feet. Ethan covered his face with his hands. For the first time in months, he cried, not from fear, but from relief. Lily climbed into his lap and hugged him tightly. Daniel stood, placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, and said, everyone needs someone once. Today, it's your turn. Tomorrow, it might be mine. Weeks later, Ethan walked into his new job wearing a clean shirt, carrying a fresh confidence, and holding Lily's hand. Life didn't magically become perfect, but it became possible. And that was everything. Acts of kindness don't need to be loud. They don't need cameras or applause. They just need a heart willing to see someone struggle, and a hand willing to help. And sometimes, the greatest miracles begin with 3 simple words. Get in the car. Let this story remind you that kindness can change a life in a single moment. And maybe, just maybe, you can be that moment for someone else today.